Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning. Welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Are you going to go see Steel Magnolias since we had Peggy Taphorn on?
I'm going to really try
week?
to get up there and see that one.
I'm going to give her that photograph. For those who might not have heard the show, Peggy Taphorn is in her 13th season at the Temple Theater, and one of her 7 productions this year are into early 2020 will be Steel Magnolias.
Yes.
And that's the show that I saw 9 times in New York, and it was so much better without the men in it.
I'm sure.
Just the women in the beauty salon talking. You didn't need the men. But that's what the movie did. So the show is actually going to be at the Temple Theater in March, and then it's going to run here at the Sunrise Theater in early April.
Yep.
So it was great to have her on, and I think they are in the middle of their first production, Oliver.
Yes, they are in the middle of Oliver.
All right. So in between the sets last week, not on the show, but Peggy and I were talking about remodeling. And, old homes and what a gas they are to work with.
Yes, they are. Nothing but a challenge.
Yeah. In Moore County, we have such a preponderance of older homes.
Yes, we do. We have
And
gorgeous old homes.
Yeah. And there's a subculture of people who want to redo them, bring back their original spirit, and I'm as guilty as the next person.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit today about that particular home, the one in Southern Pines that we're doing that was built in 1940. But we're going to be doing it from a different angle. We're going to be speaking with my guest, Shirl Ames, who owns a company called Set the Stage. She is a professional painter and has a very interesting and a varied background. And I had an interesting... the way I met Shirl was back in, I want to say, April. She was working for a builder, a well-known builder in the area, and she was coming back to check on a home that I was selling to a client. It was a townhouse. It had burnt down.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it was rebuilt.
Okay.
So it was like a new home. And Shirl had her crew over, and she was doing last-minute checkups the day I met her, and she was not happy.
Uh-oh.
She was pointing out, mistakes and this and that, not in the painting, but in some of the sheetrock.
Oh.
Some of the fit and the finish of the home, which affects, because, when you're painting, it's like wrapping a gift.
Yeah.
The gift is there, and you want to make it look nice. And so I was watching her, and I was with a home inspector. Do you remember?
I do remember.
Shirl? And I'll say good morning as I'm speaking.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
So she and I were talking, and she was pointing out to me all these mistakes and what needed to be done. And then she went ahead on her own, over and above, and addressed them and took care of them. And my client was very appreciative, and she was very particular, and she should have been. So Shirl left an impression on me, and being in the real estate business for 20 years, you meet people all the time, and some people, impress, and others do just the opposite. So she impressed. And so lo and behold, remember the home we talked about, the one that we're redoing in Southern Pines, built in 1940. So guess who is doing the painting?
I'm guessing Cheryl's doing the painting.
Yeah, I think. And you saw a video of the remodel.
I did.
It's not an easy remodel.
It doesn't look like it.
Yeah. Were you impressed with how much we're tearing the house down?
Yes, there's a lot that seems to be missing outside in that house at the moment.
Yeah, we have the house is built on a slab, and we had to drop all the ceilings and all the guts of the house because it's on a slab. All the wiring, the plumbing, everything is, the HVAC is up in the attic. But the insulation goes back so long.
I can only imagine how old that insulation is.
Well, when Shirl saw the house, I brought her over, and she flipped because she likes older homes, and she kept saying, "What a fun project." It's different than painting a new construction home, where everything is nice and neat, 90-degree angles. But Shirl, it's you've seen how long have you been here in Moore County?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years in July.
And you started your company when you got here.
Actually, I started my company as I wanted to do home staging.
Because that's what Set the Stage really refers to. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
In fact, I believe I sent you one of my brochures, but I never heard from you.
Did you really?
I did. I really did.
We get so much stuff. We never had this conversation.
No, we didn't.
So, what'd you think of me? What a jerk. You never responded, but...
No, you weren't the only one.
Oh.
So, originally I had met a real estate agent, and she was telling me that there was a need for home staging here. And I did go out and visit with people, a few clients, possible clients. And at the end of the day, they just didn't want to spend the money.
Right.
On what it would cost. And so therefore it led into painting, just like what you said earlier.
Right.
You can do this with just a fresh coat of paint,
Yeah.
update some colors,
Right.
Change a few things like that.
Right.
And that's how I began painting here.
Okay. So you have, it's not just you, obviously. You have a crew.
I do have a crew.
How many guys?
Right now I have six employees.
Okay. And I know you're working, you're currently working on I think an 8,000 square foot new construction home.
I am.
In the West End area.
Yes.
That's that's a project. Ceilings, trim.
Everything.
Everything.
Everything. Exterior, interior, ceilings are at 26 feet.
That's crazy.
Staining beams, raw beams, whitewashing them. We have been there, custom closets.
Yeah.
Custom crown molding. I mean, it's beautiful. It's been a really fun project to work on.
People don't realize how much equipment a professional painter needs. When you took me to the house to show it to me,
Yeah.
you had scaffolds set up in the kitchen or the kitchen in the family area.
Exactly.
And the trim, 26 feet higher, was different than the ceiling paint, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, absolutely. The ceiling paint is, your typical flat paint, and having to stain the beams.
Stain the beams. That's what
Right.
you were doing.
So, between the stain and the paint, it was a lath and, not a lath and plaster. It was a tongue and groove ceiling.
Yep.
So really meticulous, to try to get the paint in the grooves and keep it separated from the beams. And I'm a perfectionist, so
Right.
I was up there on that scaffolding all summer.
How do you coach that perfectionism, being a perfectionist, to your crew? Because you're only as good as your crew, right? You've got to get them to follow suit exactly the way you see the world.
Well, maybe point out some of the imperfections or, things that, maybe a homeowner on a home would notice. And even, while we're painting, even if it doesn't matter if you get the wall paint on the baseboards, if a client walks in and we know we're going to paint them, it makes it look like we're sloppy.
Right.
I like to keep it neat, and in the beginning, if we keep it neat at the beginning, then it continues, to be so,
Right.
and less time spent. And
Right. Mm-hmm. So Dorothy, so after we had met with that townhouse that we sold to my client, I had Shirl come down to my office in Southern Pines because we were putting in new windows, new HVAC systems, a new roof. So her crew came out and actually painted the exterior of the building.
Oh, wow.
And it needed it. I mean, it had been, and she's nodding her head, yeah, it did. Yeah. It's sort of like a makeover after about 15 years.
Yeah.
And we had posted some of the pictures of the building because it's an iconic office building on Old US 1 South.
Yeah.
It really does stand out.
It does.
And the difference, you can put in a new HVAC system and you go, oh, it feels better. But nothing gives you the impact as painting, that visual.
Yeah.
And people who have driven by the office have said, "Oh my gosh, Bill, are you selling the building? You just got it in such great shape." I said, "No." I said, "We're just, making it, trying to have it reborn."
You're giving it a new set of clothes.
Yeah, kind of. It's like a shower, a shave.
Yeah, give it a shower, clean it up.
Throw that in.
Yeah.
So we got this project going at in Southern Pines, and it's going to take quite a while. And we're trying to work alongside a lot of other you are trying to work alongside a lot of other contractors to get in to do the painting, because we've got electricians, we've got roofers, we've got carpenters over there, and we're going to retain the spirit of the home, and you're like 200% on board. So your enthusiasm to the job means something to me as the owner, because I want people to be enrolled in the project the way I am. And not all contractors are, because they just, it's a job. I'll go in, do my work, and I'll leave. But you're not like that.
Oh, no. I mean, I care about this project. It's so fun to watch the transition.
Yeah.
To see, the house has such good bones, has so much character.
Right.
And I love to be a part of a
Right.
project like this.
Right.
It's amazing what you can do with a vision and all the talented contractors that you have there.
Yeah. And good people.
And excellent people.
Yeah.
Excellent people. So this is a really exciting project for us.
The more we walk around the property, the more ideas we get. And I was over there last evening, and I'm looking around. It's about 6:30, and it's peaceful and quiet, and all the trucks are gone.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get a feel for the home at different positions and angles of the house. So I thought, all the gable vents that are up top,
Oh, yeah.
they should be painted in that black bean,
I agree.
right? For the contrast.
Yep. You want some accent. And
with the snowbound color that we're using.
I love that color.
Yeah. So picking colors is a gift, being able to select colors. And that's something you do with your clients, whether it's a remodel or new construction.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, color, it depends on, the lighting is so important. Lighting is important. Sheetrock condition is important with your
Right.
different sheens, the different colors that are going to, if you have sheetrock that has imperfections, you want a color that's going to blend a little bit more. You're not going to see it maybe a flat paint versus a eggshell.
Mm-hmm.
The lighting, your flooring, all those colors. I mean, it just makes a difference on, what your furniture is, what your tastes are. But you want to be able to present some colors that they like, but they're actually going to, blend with the house.
We talk to sellers all the time who want to put their homes on the market, and I always tell sellers the two most or the two least expensive things that they can do for a home to increase its value and to increase its curb appeal is landscaping and painting.
Absolutely.
Because people will pull up to a home and they will draw an opinion about that home before they ever walk through the front door. And it's something that we always try to, if a seller is really motivated, so many homes that are tired, a fresh coat of paint does wonders.
Well, it does, and it also, with fresh paint on your home, it makes it look like you actually care about it.
Right, part of ownership.
Exactly.
Right.
I guess if you drive to a house and it's in, disarray, whether it's the yard or, peeling paint, you figure that the house has not been well maintained.
Right.
So
we have a lot of younger buyers these days, and they come in and they are drawn to some of the charm of some of our older communities or the neighborhoods that have older homes, and they want it to be move-in condition. And not all of the homes are in move-in condition, but especially compared to new construction. However, the cost of new construction versus the cost of some of these older homes, they're very far apart. So we have one property in particular, people love it, but they walk in and the buyers say, we just don't like the paint colors. And my seller, we had you go over and look at the home to price it, to repaint it, to neutralize it. And to my seller, the cost was too much.
Right.
So she said, I think I'll do it myself. And that's when I dropped the phone. And to me, that's the biggest red flag of all, because whenever I hear that a homeowner is going to paint the interior of a home, I say to them, and I was very direct with her, and she was very smart, and she got it. I said, honestly, if you're going to do that, just offer an allowance for painting.
Yes.
Don't do it, because this home had high ceilings, large walls with light coming in. Imperfections could be magnified.
Right.
And I don't care if it's not a professional job, it will show, and it will come back to bite you in the butt.
Yes, it will. And in fact, did she paint that home?
No, I didn't let her. I broke her arms.
But somebody had painted it that was not professional the first time.
Yes.
You walk in
Yes.
and you see,
That's right.
paint on the trim and it's on the baseboards and
Yeah.
you can see the uneven strokes. And, of course, I can walk into a home and go, oh,
That's right.
I want to fix this.
It's the biggest visual that people face when they walk in the door is the painting.
Well, right, and you spend time in your home, and I mean, you want it to be beautiful. You spend more time inside your home than
Right.
hopefully anywhere else.
That's right.
And you want a professional, beautiful job.
Yeah. We're going to come back in the second set. Our guest is Shirl Ames. The name of her company is Set the Stage. She's a professional painter, a great lady, and we have a bunch of questions to ask her when we come back. This is All Things Mark County. Welcome back to our second set of All Things Moore County with Shirl Ames. Set the Stage is the name of the company. Painting is the business, and her job and my job intersect so many times during the course of a year. There's a saying, Shirl, when we go to a seller to put their home on the market, we always say the most successful sellers are able to transitionalize and turn their home into a house.
Right.
And people sometimes, sellers will take it personally because their home is theirs. It reflects
Absolutely.
their desires, their colors. And if I could, I would put a hose on the back of my truck. I would put a gallon of Clorox, and I would go in with the hose, and I would neutralize the entire house for the purposes of selling it.
Right.
But it's not trying to hurt someone's feelings about their red dining room.
Well, absolutely. And, that was one of the things that when I was going to do the home staging, that was one of the things that you have to consider. You walk in and you want them to remove maybe some photos, some pictures, to kind of declutter. And, but those photos mean something
Right.
to them.
Right.
And I understand that. I've gone into homes for wallpaper removal, and there's an emotional attachment. Let's say a parent had passed and they remember their mother loving this wallpaper. It's houses hold memories.
Or homes hold memories.
Yes, homes.
Houses are for the next person in. And
You're
so
right.
we have a situation right now with a client that they're buying a house down in Aberdeen, and you are going to be painting the house for them the day after they close on it.
Yes.
And what they wanted to do was go in to make that house their own very quickly before they moved in, a young couple, newlyweds.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably gave you colors on the phone and that kind of direction.
They did.
How did that work? Because you guys didn't get a chance to meet. You just went out to quote the job.
Exactly. Yes, because they are relocating here.
Right.
And there was a lot of correspondence. email, phone calls, and trying to fit into their budget and still be able to produce exactly what they want, So there's always options, and they're actually in town this week, so
That's
hopefully
right.
I get to meet them.
You will. They're great young couple.
They're so excited.
And they're very meticulous and organized. So on the colors that they sent you swatches, I guess Sherwin-Williams colors or whatever. How did that all work?
Beautiful. They have lovely taste.
Okay.
It's going to look great in their home.
So you know the house,
Yes.
and then you know the colors. But there are times when people will select colors that you might not particularly care for, but you have to execute.
Absolutely.
How do you handle that? do you ever make suggestions like you might want to soften this up a little bit?
Yes, or or provide, give them advice on, maybe this color is going to be too much for this particular space.
Right.
A very bright, vibrant color would
Right.
look, maybe great on an accent wall.
Right.
And of course, depending on the light, depending on the size of room. But if you it's hard because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Right. You made a comment when you selected the exterior color of the house on North Valley that I'm renovating, and it's in the White family. It's called Snowbound.
Yes.
And you described it as a little bit of a gray tint to it.
Right. It's not so stark.
Right.
It's not so stark, so it blinds you when the sun hits it. It's going to really reflect the light. It's still going to give it some depth. It will still look very clean, but not that stark white. It's actually, Snowbound is one of the, I think it was 2018 white color of the year.
Do you hear that, Dorothy? I have the 2018 White Color of the Year.
Nice.
So I belong now.
Yes, you do.
But one of the things you spoke about also was the house needed some pop, needed some accent.
Right.
And that black bean color, once you did the carport, your suggestion about painting the beams, it's a cool carport.
Oh, it's so cool.
The black bean color to match the trim on the windows and the doors and the soffits was great. So
Right.
the house will have some bang to it.
Well, not only that, it actually, now it makes it look like your carport is part of your property. It's part of your
Right.
home. You actually cared about it.
Yeah, exactly.
It flows. And your carport is cool. I mean,
Yeah, it is a cool carport.
it really is.
Yeah, especially for an outdoor guy like me. Not true. So I have a question. Why? Sometimes you can get a job to quote,
Right.
and I've seen this happen. 2 or 3 painting companies will go in and quote a job, and all 3 will be different to paint the same things. And sometimes I see the seller or the homeowner or the new buyer get sticker shock, and
Right.
they don't understand, oh my gosh, it costs that much to paint.
Exactly.
But there's so many variables, and how do you deal with that? And how do you explain the
Yeah.
variation in pricing?
Well, for one thing, estimating is the most difficult part of my job, I think. It's hard to determine when you walk into a home, how long is this going to take? What are those little things? Is there a lot of drywall work, where you're going to fix the imperfections and it's going to be, done correctly. What is the condition of the baseboards, the doors, the overall, condition of the house? What are the angles? What are the heights? And what kind of paint do you want to use? Do you want to use a paint that's, only going to last you a year or two? Or do you want something that's durable?
There's so many different quality paints out there.
Oh, yes, there are.
You're using a paint called Duration.
On your exterior
And
house.
that is, I think I heard Phil mention what a good quality paint that was.
It's probably going to outlive us.
It'll outlive me, not you.
It's fabulous paint, yes, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
And roughly, what does that run a gallon compared to an on-sale paint?
It's $60, $70
A gallon.
a gallon, I think.
And you can buy some paint in a similar color for $22 a gallon.
You can get any paint in any color for $22 a gallon, but it's not going to last.
And it's probably harder to apply.
Oh yeah, well, and a lot more coats to actually cover. It's not gonna cover correctly. It's really worth spending the extra money,
Right.
to get the job done right and something that's going to last and
Right.
have longevity.
Yeah, I find that people, I always tell people, you get what you pay for.
Right.
And they go, yep, I get that, except that when it comes to them, they pause and take a breath.
Right.
Is that a problem for you when you're trying to defend your pricing, your value?
Well, I like to sit down with my clients and give them different options. But it is hard for them to imagine, the couple that we were talking about, in fact, they have, a very tricky entrance.
Yeah, they do.
Right.
That's true.
I mean, hard angles.
That's right.
It's I'm not sure what the height is, but it's got to be close to 18 feet.
Yeah.
You think about the time it's going to take. You have to move your ladder, cut in the ceiling. It's time consuming.
Right.
And square footage, it's not just under the roof. I mean, you're looking at ceiling to floor
Right.
square footage.
Right.
And how is it going to cover? What colors do you have on top of that or underneath it?
Right.
What are you applying? How much you're going to have to use? And yeah.
Doing new construction could be more cost effective because you're working on a blank canvas, right? You're not working around stuff. Oh no, that's not true. Actually, that's not true.
Yeah.
Because you still have the height issues.
Right.
And today's newer construction homes have more architectural detail.
Oh yeah, and and it depends on the scheduling of the trades. Maybe you'll finish painting a wall, and suddenly they decide to build something above it or onto it, and there's damage done to the wall, so you're redoing that. Or, it's always tricky, but for the most part, trades are fun to work around too. They're usually really respectful.
Talk to me a little bit about colors, because colors, it depends on who you're speaking with. If you're speaking to a seller who wants to put their home in the most marketable condition possible,
Right.
what kind of advice do you normally have for them?
I mean, normally I would say neutrals.
Would you borrow my
Neutrals.
Clorox hose?
Is it for rent?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's on the back of my car. I take it wherever I go.
You probably want something light and airy and neutral to really make the house shine.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as, I agree with you, and some of the popular colors today are there's a whole family of grays.
Right.
They've been very popular for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any trends that you see going forward with lighter colors other than grays?
Right now, I'm seeing a lot of grays.
A lot of grays.
A lot of grays.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
White trim, so there's a lot of pop.
Yeah, there is. However, I just did a house in CCNC, and her colors are more of the beige. And there is a beige gray color, but she also did a tinted color on her trim and her baseboards, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is not so stark. It's not.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
You don't just do high-end homes like the one on Valley or the one at CCNC. You'll do homes that are more moderately priced as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And commercial. We're just starting
Are you?
We're just starting a commercial building out in Carthage.
Okay.
So that's going to be exciting.
How do you, most of your leads, is it by word of mouth, by referral?
It is.
That's huge.
It
Because
really
you don't
is.
do a lot of advertising.
I really have not advertised
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
No.
So you're only as good as your last job and what people say.
Yeah, I guess so. That's been awesome. That's really been wonderful.
Yeah.
To have reoccurring clients, and
Yeah. We're going to come back in the third set. I want to talk a little bit about your sojourn to Moore County, how you got here, what it's like running your own business. We love entrepreneurs. We love independent people, independent spirits. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of courage. But you're on the other side of that. I already know that you are.
I'm still on a journey, and I'm still learning, but yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Our guest is Shirl Ames from Set the Stage. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our final set of All Things Moore County. We're enjoying the hour with Shirl Ames. She owns a paint company called Set the Stage. She's been here 3 years?
3 years in July.
And you've built up a business. How did you get started here? I mean, you moved here from Wyoming.
I did.
You just set up shop? And how'd you get your name out? I'm always fascinated by successful people and how they market themselves and how they, get the ball rolling.
Right. Like I said earlier, I was going to do the home staging, and I didn't really get a lot of response with that, and it was word of mouth. Met a couple people,
Yeah.
and they said, "Hey, would like this painted," and I said, "I love to paint, come in and do that." And next thing I know, I thought, maybe that's what I should do. We should,
Tell us a little bit about your background, because you did other things besides painting.
Did.
Yeah.
Painting, remodeling was always my passion. In Wyoming, I was actually in the oil and gas industry for 18 years.
What did you do? Tell me what you did in that industry.
Oh, I've done a lot of things with the oil and gas. Second company I worked for, we actually did an IPO, went to NASDAQ. That was interesting.
Uh-huh.
Lasted 3 years before we were unlisted,
Yeah.
delisted, I guess.
Yeah.
With the,
Very
oil and gas is
volatile.
so volatile. The last company I worked for was actually based out of Scotland. They had 40,000 employees in 50 countries. And I was responsible in, my first job with them was I was responsible in building a document control infrastructure
Okay.
For ConocoPhillips and ExxonMobil, and to handle $250 million worth of oil projects.
Right.
2015, the oil just really collapsed.
Right.
So I thought I'd been in the West my whole entire life.
Right.
Got kind of tired of 35 below zero winters.
And you had a daughter who lived here in North Carolina.
No, I came here by myself. She came a year after. Mm-hmm.
So you blazed the trail and she followed.
She did, yes, a year later. And it was terrifying coming here. I did not know anybody.
So that takes a lot of courage, a lot of guts. What was it about North Carolina that made you say, you know what, this would be a good place to set up shop and start the next chapter in my life?
I actually wasn't sure if it was a good idea.
Oh, okay. It wasn't that compelling.
It was more a dart on the map.
Wow.
And in fact, it landed on Asheville. And
Okay.
And then my daughter that we were just talking about.
Right.
She has a culinary degree, one of her degrees, and she mentioned that she was thinking about maybe doing a pastry chef college and looked at Pinehurst, Sandhills College.
Right.
And she says, that wouldn't be far from Asheville. And I says, well, let's fly down to Pinehurst and check out Sandhills College.
Right.
They were amazing. We
Right.
came down and fell in love with Pinehurst, Sandhills College, and I love to golf. So
you're a golfer.
yes, I am.
You play is it hard to get out and play? I mean, you try to sneak out as much as you can.
Oh, I was sneaking out as much as I could until I got really busy.
Right.
But that's okay.
So 3 years looking back where you are today, you're the author of your own book, your company, your managerial skills, the way you control things and the way you I see how you try to organize and get more meticulous in terms of quotes, preparing,
Right.
prepping, doing the layout, so that there are no surprises down the road.
Exactly. Surprises, that's not what you wanted.
Right.
Unless it's Christmas.
Right. No deer in the headlights. Look.
Right, right.
But you have to also then juggle jobs, because you're not just working on one job site at a time,
No.
and you've got a crew,
Mm-hmm.
and the permutations are forever.
Right.
How you juggle them, how you position them, but the hardest thing is that people will change you up every other day. Your clients, oh,
Right.
hey, we can't do it today. We have someone ahead of you, or
You just have to roll with it.
You have to roll with it.
You have to be able to do that. And, your house, for instance, there was a day we were going to spray the outside. We were going to start working on the exterior.
That's right. That's right.
And then we had weather.
That's right.
So, all right, now I contact another client, say, hey, I can skip over there real quick, and we'll fit you into the schedule, the best we can. Most people are flexible.
The weather drives you to work indoors, because
Right.
you were talking about the exterior. And so in the interim, what I've been trying to do is, and it's been done, you need to go over and look. The landscaper has been over clearing all the beds away from the house, getting up all that old pine straw
Right.
and all that old, years of just debris and such, and kind of starting anew. But I told her to strip around the house so that it's as much of a skeleton for you as possible, because there are areas where, there's still sanding to do. This is a
Right.
stucco home. This is not.
Right. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
No, but it's going to be gorgeous. It is a lot of prep work. And prepping is just as important as the painting, the final painting.
Right.
You have to put the time and the energy into the correct prepping.
I hear stories sometimes from people. They say, oh my gosh, this painting crew, the people that were on the crew, oh my gosh. One guy has a drinking problem. The other guy is, always late. Painters seem to have, every group of business, every group of workers has some sort of a stereotype.
Right.
Painters don't have the best reputation.
That's unfortunate.
It is. But you do, you've got a really good crew of guys. I saw your A-team when they came over to my
Right.
office, and they were just, they were stellar. They took responsibility.
Right.
They owned it. They helped each other.
That's what it's about, having a team,
Yeah.
a team that works well. But it is tricky when you're dealing with people from, maybe they have their own ideas on how it should be done, or, it's difficult working or trying to find that team that can work together and flows. And, right now, the team that I have, you work with their different personalities, their strengths, their weaknesses, and, guide them. Right now, I have a fabulous team. I couldn't be happier with them.
Yeah, and you were able to sneak away today. In between, you're probably going to leave here and have to go right back to one of the
I am.
jobs that you were at.
Just make sure that everybody has everything they need, and the job is going well, and the client's happy, and absolutely.
This is this is the best time of the year, isn't it, to do exterior painting?
Oh, yes, it is. It's
But
perfect.
by far. No
We have
pollen in the spring.
Exactly.
No heat in the summer.
Right.
Rain. These cool days to work outside.
Oh, yeah, this is the perfect time.
Yeah.
This is the perfect time. And if you do have peeling paint and raw wood, it's a good time to scrape and sand and paint that, so, you do not get further damage during the winter, and, with the snow and rain. And
Do you have any pet peeves as you're working a job with clients sometimes? Changes as you go, or does anything come up that catches you off guard that you say, I'll remember that the next time?
Oh, I probably have 1,000 of those that I can't think of at this very second.
Yeah. Because you set out, when you do a job, you submit your quote.
Right.
But along the way, invariably, that quote changes.
Sure, it does. And if it doesn't change too much, I just kind of go with the flow with that. If it's going to be time consuming, I'll let them know what the change is going to be and give them a change order prior to. So again, they're not shocked or sticker shocked. And
Yeah.
I like to work with my clients on, whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And painting is a lot like dominoes. They might think all I want is the living room and the bathroom, and next thing you know, they're like, gosh, we were thinking about the kitchen too.
Right.
So I'm all about that. Bring the kitchen in.
Sure.
Let's go down the hall.
Sure. Keep
Add a
adding
bathroom.
So you moved here from culture in Wyoming to a culture in North Carolina.
Right.
Not sticker shock, but culture shock. Different environments, different ethics, different, just a different world.
It really is a different world. But I do have to say, I was so amazed by how welcoming Moore County has been to me, the people that I have met.
Yeah.
I think out west, they were a little bit more protective on strangers when you move in. They weren't welcome to the neighborhood. It was like, how long are you going to stay? When are you leaving?
Right.
And here it has not been that way. It has been absolutely amazing.
Well, people who don't know you can get to know you. I don't know that you have a website at this point.
I don't.
You will eventually.
I will.
You will.
I'm too busy painting.
You're too busy painting. But the name of your company is Set the Stage. If people want to reach you, is the best way to get you on your cell phone? Cell
phone is the best way.
And may I ask for that number?
It's 307-751-0483.
Okay. And they can also ask for a list of references from you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd like to be at the top of that list if possible.
You are.
Okay, good.
Yes, I went from Z backwards on my...
All right, and anybody who wants to come and take a look at your work and come out to the house on North Valley and take a look and see what you're doing. But that's...
Oh, they should see that project anyway. It's fabulous.
It's a work in progress, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But it is a fun project to do. We don't have the pressure of like a deadline. We want to do it, but we want to do it right. And you have completely bought into what I'm trying to do, which is to retain the spirit of the home, but make everything about it operational as per 2020 standards.
Yes.
And when it's done, we would like the family who owned it for 58 years to come back and go, this was our home. And oh my gosh, and it's still our home. And if we can preserve it that way, we'll have done a lot. And then you'll drive by it someday and you can use it as your showroom and go, here's a job that we did. You can just show it to clients. Shirl, it was a pleasure. I'm so glad you
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, come and do this. And it's going to be a good fall season.
It is.
And just glad that you were able to come and talk with us.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Everybody have a great week. This is All Things Moore County.